The 1943 1-cent coin is wrapped in one of the most electrifying stories in the world of rare money, a story where a tiny, overlooked piece of metal can carry the weight of life-changing fortune. At first glance, it may seem like any other old coin, but hidden within that year lies a legend that has fascinated collectors for generations. While millions of ordinary pennies were produced, a few extraordinary ones emerged by accident, and those rare survivors are the reason people still search through jars, drawers, and forgotten collections with hope burning in their eyes. During that year, the world was deep in war, and metals were precious for military use. To conserve copper, most 1943 pennies were made from steel and coated to appear silver in color. That's why many people remember the 1943 coin as a silver penny. But here's where the magic begins. By a twist of fate, a handful of coins were mistakenly struck using the old copper material. These accidental creations became some of the rarest treasures ever produced because they were never meant to exist in the first place. The presence of Queen Elizabeth II is not part of this coin's identity, yet the storytelling around Elizabeth coins sometimes blends legends across different currencies, adding to the mystery and confusion. What truly matters is that the genuine rare 1943 penny is not the common steel version you often see. It is the copper one that breaks all expectations. That single difference, invisible to an untrained eye, is what separates a coin worth almost nothing from one that could be valued in astonishing figures. Collectors and treasure hunters speak about this coin with a sense of awe because its value doesn't just come from rarity, it comes from the story of its mistake. A minting error turned into a miracle. Imagine holding something that slipped past strict controls, something that wasn't supposed to be released into the world. That feeling alone transforms the coin into more than metal. It becomes a symbol of chance, timing, and hidden opportunity. However, the dream of becoming a billionaire overnight from this coin is often exaggerated. While some authentic rare pieces have sold for very high prices, reaching into hundreds of thousands or even more depending on condition, not every 1943 coin holds that power. Most of the silver-looking ones are steel and are quite common. The real challenge lies in identifying the rare copper version, verifying it with experts, and ensuring it is genuine before believing any extraordinary claims. In the end, the 1943 1-cent coin teaches a powerful lesson. Sometimes the smallest objects can carry the biggest stories, but truth must stand beside excitement. If you ever come across one, don't rush, don't assume, and don't undersell. Have it examined carefully. Because while many are ordinary, very few are extraordinary, and those rare pieces continue to inspire the dream that somewhere, in someone's pocket or drawer, a simple coin could still be waiting to change everything. The legendary 1955 1-cent coin, often called the Lincoln Wheat penny, carries a story that feels almost unreal, like a hidden treasure quietly waiting in someone's pocket. At first glance, it looks like an ordinary copper coin with the face of Abraham Lincoln, but beneath that simple appearance lies one of the most famous minting mistakes in history. This mistake, known as the double die, turned a small everyday coin into a symbol of mystery, fortune, and collector obsession. People don't just see a coin when they hear about 1955, they see a chance, a possibility that a single discovery could completely transform their life overnight. The magic of this coin comes from a rare accident during its creation. When the coin die was being prepared, it was struck twice slightly out of alignment, causing the letters and numbers to appear boldly doubled. This wasn't a minor flaw, it was dramatic, visible even to the naked eye, especially on the date and inscriptions. Because of this unusual error, every coin produced from that flawed die carried the same striking duplication, making it instantly recognizable and highly desirable among collectors. The result was not just a coin, but a masterpiece of imperfection that stood out from millions of ordinary pennies. Coin Identifier +1. What makes the 1955 penny feel almost mythical is the story of how it entered circulation. Thousands of these error coins slipped into everyday use before anyone noticed the mistake. Imagine that, people buying small items, receiving change, completely unaware that they were holding something extraordinary. It's said that many of these coins were even found inside cigarette packs as change in the 1950s, quietly spreading across the country like hidden treasure. This accidental release is what fuels the dream today, that somewhere in an old box or forgotten drawer, one of these rare coins might still be waiting to be discovered. CoinValueLookup.com. Now comes the part that captures everyone's imagination, the value. While most normal 1955 pennies are worth only a few cents, the rare double-die version can reach thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars depending on its condition. Some high-grade examples have sold for over $30,000, and collectors continue to chase them with passion. This is where the legend begins to grow into something bigger, where people start imagining million-dollar dreams. While not every coin will make someone a billionaire overnight, the truth is clear. This tiny piece of metal holds a power far beyond its face value. CoinValueLookup.com+1. CoinValueLookup.com. But the real power of the 1955 1-cent coin is not just in money, it is in the emotion it carries. It represents hope, discovery, and the idea that something small can hold enormous value. Every collector knows that finding such a coin is not just about wealth. It is about being part of history, holding a moment where human error created something unforgettable. The coin becomes a story, a symbol of luck and timing, something that connects the past with the present in a deeply personal way. That is why experts and collectors always give one powerful advice: never rush to sell such a coin cheaply. What may look like a simple old penny could be a rare treasure, hiding in plain sight. The 1955 double-die cent is not just currency. It is a reminder that fortune sometimes comes in the smallest forms. And for the one who finds a true rare piece, it doesn't just change a wallet. It changes a future, turning an ordinary moment into an extraordinary turning point. The 1944 1-cent coin tied to Queen Elizabeth II is often wrapped in a powerful aura of mystery, value, and almost unbelievable stories of fortune. At first glance, it looks like just another small coin. Aged, simple, and easily overlooked, but within collector circles, certain rare variations from that year are believed to hold astonishing worth. These are not ordinary coins. They are the kind that spark excitement, ignite curiosity, and make people recheck old collections with renewed hope. The idea that such a tiny object could be worth millions is what transforms it from simple currency into something legendary. What makes the 1944 1-cent coin so fascinating is the possibility of rare minting anomalies. During that period, the world was going through wartime production pressures, and sometimes unusual things happened in mints: different metals, slight design changes, or unexpected errors. While most 1944 pennies were made from common materials, whispers of unusual compositions, coins that appear slightly different in color, weight, or shine, have fueled the belief that a few extraordinary pieces exist. These rare variations are what collectors chase, because in the world of coins, even the smallest difference can mean the largest reward. The real magic lies in condition and uniqueness. A perfectly preserved 1944 coin, untouched by wear, with sharp details and a clean surface, becomes something far more than its age suggests. It becomes a time capsule, a piece of history frozen in metal. Combine that with a rare minting feature, and suddenly the coin moves from being collectible to potentially life-changing. That's where the stories begin. Stories of individuals who unknowingly held onto such coins, only to discover later that they possess something incredibly valuable. The phrase, "this coin can make you a billionaire overnight," may sound exaggerated, but it reflects the emotional power these coins hold. In reality, only the rarest and most exceptional versions reach extremely high values, but the dream itself keeps collectors searching. It's the possibility, the what if, that gives this coin its almost mythical reputation. Every old jar of coins, every inherited collection, becomes a treasure hunt filled with anticipation that one extraordinary piece might be hiding in plain sight. Because of this, experts and experienced collectors always advise caution. Never rush to sell a 1944 1-cent coin without proper evaluation. What looks ordinary to an untrained eye might reveal rare characteristics under closer inspection: weight differences, metal variations, or subtle design details. A coin's true value often lies in things that aren't immediately visible, and patience can mean the difference between losing a fortune and unlocking it. In the end, the 1944 1-cent coin stands as a powerful symbol of hidden potential. It reminds us that even the smallest, most overlooked objects can carry incredible stories and surprising worth. Whether or not one finds the rare version that changes everything, the journey itself, the search, the curiosity, the hope is what gives this coin its lasting magic. It is not just about money. It is about the thrill of discovery and the belief that something extraordinary could be resting quietly in the palm of your hand. The 1-cent coin of 1946, carrying the image of Queen Elizabeth II in later associations of royal coinage lore, has long been wrapped in a cloud of fascination and exaggerated whispers. At first glance, it appears to be nothing more than a humble copper coin, small, light, and easily overlooked. But in the world of collectors, even the simplest coin can hide a story powerful enough to ignite dreams of sudden wealth. The idea that a 1946 penny could be worth millions has spread like wildfire, not because every coin holds that value, but because of the rare and extraordinary possibilities tied to a few exceptional pieces. What truly fuels the excitement is the belief that some 1946 1-cent coins may exist in unusual forms, minting errors, off-metal strikes, or coins preserved in near-perfect condition. These rare versions are the ones that command attention. Imagine a coin struck with a slight misalignment, or one that somehow carries a different metallic composition than intended. These small differences, invisible to an untrained eye, can transform an ordinary penny into something extraordinary. In the collector's world, rarity is everything, and when rarity meets curiosity, prices can rise to astonishing levels. There is also a powerful emotional force behind coins like the 1946 cent. This was a year marked by the aftermath of global conflict, a time when nations were rebuilding and economies were reshaping. Coins minted during such periods carry a silent connection to history, making them more than just currency. They become artifacts. When a coin from that era survives in pristine condition, untouched by decades of wear, it becomes a symbol of endurance. For collectors, owning such a piece is like holding a fragment of time itself. The myth of the million-dollar penny often grows from real stories, instances where rare coins have sold for surprisingly high amounts due to their uniqueness. But it is important to understand that these are exceptions, not the rule. Not every 1946 1-cent coin is valuable, and certainly not everyone can make someone a billionaire overnight. The true value lies in specific characteristics: condition, rarity, demand, and authenticity. Without these elements aligning perfectly, the coin remains a modest piece of history rather than a life-changing treasure. Still, the warning holds meaning. Never rush to sell a coin you do not fully understand. Many people have unknowingly parted with rare collectibles simply because they did not recognize their worth. If you ever come across a 1946 1-cent coin that looks unusual or exceptionally well-preserved, it deserves careful attention. Experts, collectors, and professional grading services can reveal details that completely change how a coin is valued. What seems ordinary today could reveal hidden significance tomorrow. In the end, the 1946 1-cent coin stands as a reminder of how something so small can carry such powerful imagination. It may not turn everyone into a billionaire overnight, but it represents the thrilling possibility that treasure can exist in the most unexpected places. Whether it's worth a single cent or something far greater, its true magic lies in the curiosity it sparks, the idea that fortune might be quietly waiting in the palm of your hand, disguised as an everyday coin. The Lincoln cent, sometimes called the Lincoln penny, is a 1-cent coin that has been struck by the United States Mint every year since 1909. The obverse, or heads, side was designed by Victor David Brenner, as was the original reverse, depicting two stalks of wheat, thus wheat pennies, struck 1909 to 1958. The coin has seen several reverse, or tails, designs and now bears one by Lindell base depicting a Union shield. All coins struck by the United States government with a value of 1/100th of a dollar are called cents because the United States has always minted coins using decimals. The penny nickname is a carryover from the coins struck in England, which went to decimals for coins in 1971. Lincoln cent 1 United States value 1 cent, $0.01 US dollars, mass 2.5 g, latest composition. Bronze cents from 1909 to 1982 are 3.11 g. Wartime steel cents are 2.7 g diameter, 19.05 mm, 0.750 in, etch plain composition 1909, 1942, 1944 to 1982, 95% copper, remainder tin or zinc. 1943, zinc-plated steel. 1982, present, copper-plated zinc, 97.5% Zn, 2.5% Cu. 232 cents dated 2025 struck in gold years of minting 1909. Present mint marks P. 2017 only. D. S. W. 2019 only. Under date on obverse. No mint marks used from 1965 to 1967 in any year except 2017 at the Philadelphia Mint, or in any year except 2019 at the West Point Mint. Design Abraham Lincoln. Designer Victor D. Brenner. Design date 1909, before 1918 omitting VDB on the cutoff of the bust, modified in 2010. Reverse Design Union Shield. Designer Lindell. Base design date 2010. In 1905, sculptor Augustus St. Gaudens was hired by the Mint to redesign the cent and the 4 gold coins, which did not require congressional approval. 2 of St. Gaudens's proposed designs for the cent were eventually adapted for the gold pieces, but St. Gaudens died in August 1907 before submitting additional designs for the cent. In January 1909, the Mint engaged Brenner to design a cent depicting the late President Abraham Lincoln, 1909 being the centennial year of his birth. It was the first widely circulating design of a U.S. president on a coin, an idea that had been seen as too monarchical in the past, namely by George Washington. Nevertheless, Brenner's design was eventually approved, and the new coins were issued to great public interest on August 2, 1909. Brenner's initials, VDB, on the reverse at its base, were deemed too prominent once the coins were issued, and were removed within days of the release. The initials were restored, this time smaller, on Lincoln's shoulder in 1918. Originally struck in 95% copper, the cent coin was changed for 1 year to zinc-coated steel in 1943 as copper was needed to aid in the war effort. The Mint then reverted to 95% copper until 1982, when inflation made copper too expensive and the composition was changed to zinc with an outer copper layer. Brenner's wheat reverse was replaced in 1959 by a depiction of the Lincoln Memorial designed by Frank Gasparo for the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. The Lincoln Memorial reverse was later replaced in 2009 by 4 commemorative designs marking the bicentennial of Lincoln's birth. Beginning in 2010, Base's shield design was coined. In early 2025, President Donald Trump announced the cent would soon cease to be struck for circulation, and ceremonial final striking of the circulation cent took place that November. In 1904, President Theodore Roosevelt wrote to his Secretary of the Treasury, Leslie Mortier Shaw, complaining that U.S. coinage lacked artistic merit and inquiring if it would be possible to engage a private artist, such as sculptor Augustus St. Gaudens, to prepare new coin designs. 2. At Roosevelt's instructions, the Mint hired St. Gaudens to redesign the cent and the 4 gold pieces, the double eagle, $20, eagle, $10, half eagle, $5, and quarter eagle, $2.50. As the designs of those pieces had remained the same for 25 years, they could be changed without an act of Congress. 3. The Indian head cent, which the Lincoln cent replaced, had been introduced in 1859. 4. St. Gaudens originally conceived a flying eagle design for the cent. 5. But at Roosevelt's request, developed it for the double eagle after learning that by law, an eagle could not appear on the cent. 6. Writer and friend Witterbinner recalled that in January 1907, St. Gaudens was seriously ill with cancer and was carried to his studio for 10 minutes a day to critique the work of his assistants on current projects, including the cent. St. Gaudens sent Roosevelt a design in February 4. the obverse of the cent showing a figure of liberty. Roosevelt suggested the addition of a Native American war bonnet, stating, "I don't see why we should not have a conventional headdress of purely American type for the liberty figure." 7. In May 1907, Roosevelt instructed that the Indian design be developed for the eagles instead. St. Gaudens was by then in declining health. He died on August 3, 1907, without having submitted another design for the Cent 3. With the redesign of the 4 gold denominations completed by 1908, Roosevelt turned his attention to the cent. The centennial of the birth of assassinated President Abraham Lincoln would occur in February 1909, and large numbers of privately manufactured souvenirs were already being issued. Many citizens had written to the Treasury Department proposing a Lincoln coin, and Roosevelt was interested in honoring his fellow Republican. This was a break with previous American numismatic tradition. Before the Lincoln cent, no regularly circulating U.S. coin had featured an actual person, as opposed to idealized personifications, as of liberty. 8. Many writers had suggested a Lincoln half-dollar, but that coin's design had been changed in 1892 and could not yet be altered without congressional approval. By then a lame duck in office, Roosevelt was reluctant to involve Congress. 9. In late 1908, Roosevelt sat for sculptor Victor David Brenner, who was designing a medal for the Panama Canal Commission. While the contents of their conversations were never recorded, it appears they discussed Roosevelt's plans for coinage redesign. Roosevelt had admired a 1907 plaque of Lincoln which the artist had produced. 10. It is uncertain how Brenner was selected to design the cent, but in January 1909, Mint Director Frank A. Leach contacted Brenner to ask his fee for designing the coin. Brenner mentioned in his correspondence with Leach that the president had liked his Lincoln design. There is no evidence Brenner considered any other concept for the piece. 11. Brenner's obverse design closely follows a profile of Lincoln he had used in other work, such as the desk plaque he made for the Gora Manufacturing Company in 1907. Numismatic historian Roger Burdett suggests that Brenner based his work on an 1864 photograph of Lincoln taken at Matthew Brady's studio by one of his assistants. However, Burdett adds that in an April 1, 1909 letter, Brenner mentioned that in producing the design, he envisioned Lincoln reading to a child when the sculptor felt Lincoln would be at his brightest. This suggests that Brenner may have drawn inspiration from the well-known Brady photograph of Lincoln with his son, Tad. In a 2012 study published in Coin World, numismatic historian Fred Reed suggests that Brenner's Lincoln work was based on a Brady portrait of Lincoln in right profile, which was taken on the same day as the picture with his son. There were several photos taken at this sitting. 12. As the photograph in question only showed Lincoln's head and shoulders, Reed indicates that Brenner obtained additional detail from an 1860 campaign photograph of a beardless Lincoln. 13. On January 18, 1909, Brenner submitted models to the Mint with a Lincoln profile on the obverse, and a reverse designed very similar to that on the then-current French silver coins, showing a tree branch. He also proposed designs for a Lincoln half-dollar, with the late president to appear on one side, and a standing Liberty design, almost identical to the obverse of the same French coins. Leach replied on February 2 that no change to the half-dollar could be made without congressional approval. By February 9, Leach had discovered the origin of the branch design, although numismatic historian Don Taxi notes that it is odd Leach had not discovered the source of the standing Liberty design, given that they were on opposite sides of the same French coins. 14. Leach did not confront the sculptor with the artistic borrowing, but instead simply ruled out the submitted designs as unsuitable for the reverse of the cent. 14. He urged the sculptor to prepare a simple design, bearing the denomination, the country's name, and the motto E pluribus unum. 15. Brenner worked quickly and on February 17, delivered models for both obverse and reverse similar to the eventual coin, though with a somewhat larger bust of Lincoln and the motto In God We Trust omitted. 16. As a design element on the reverse, Brenner used 2 ears of Durham wheat. 17. The designs were shown to President Roosevelt, who approved them, although Roosevelt required United, which Brenner had spelled knighted, to be spelled in the conventional way. 18. After Leach examined the models, he objected to the fact that Brenner had put his full surname on the obverse. Brenner wrote in return, I shall take it out and put it in small letters on the reverse. 16. On March 4th, 1909, the day on which Roosevelt left office, replaced by William Howard Taft, Brenner met with mint engraver Charles E. Barber in Philadelphia. Barber had written to Leach, suggesting that Brenner's designs would have to be modified to be suitable for coinage. 19. On March 15th, Brenner wrote to Leach stating that Barber seemed in no hurry to have the new coins produced. 20. Brenner also complained that the mint was losing detail as it reduced the large models to coin-sized hubs. Barber had been stung by criticism that he had lost detail in this way with the new gold coins, and he raised no objection to having the reductions done by an outside silversmith. 21. After several hubs were prepared by the Medallic Art Company of New York, Barber sank a master die and sent it to Brenner for retouching. 22. Patterns were prepared from the dies, but Barber and Leach were unhappy with the pieces. On May 22nd, Leach wrote to Brenner, "I have to inform you that I was not satisfied with the first proof of the Lincoln cent. I found that you had not dropped the Lincoln portrait down so that the head would come nearer the center of the coin. Therefore, I had Mr. Barber make me a proof of this change, and as this left so much blank space over the top, we concluded that it would be better to put on the motto, 'In God We Trust.' This change has made a marked improvement in the appearance of the coin." 23. On May 26th, samples of the new coin with and without the motto were shown to President Taft, who selected the mottoed version. 24. The coin was formally approved by Secretary of the Treasury Franklin McVeigh on July 14th, and a release date of August 2nd, 1909, was set. Thank you so much for watching this video. Your support means everything to me. Keep showing your love like this, and I promise I will keep bringing you the real truth about every coin. Until next time, stay curious, stay smart, and never underestimate the value of a small coin.